everyone, and welcome to Phase 1, Episode 1 of the Heal and Reset journey. I am so glad that you've joined me on this journey. As a reminder, the Heal and Reset journey is a framework that I created to help women of all ages regain control of their health whilst tackling issues such as PCOS, endometriosis, and infertility. So if you're here, you've chosen to slow things down and do this properly, not rush your body, not overwhelm it, and not try to fix everything at once. And I welcome you. I have built this journey in phases because healing has an order, and it's so important that we don't rush it. During the Heal and Reset journey, we are going to be looking at things like blood sugar, hormones, detoxification, estrogen clearance, gut and oral microbiome health, nervous system regulation, nutrition, supplements, and low tox living. However, we're not going to be doing that all at once. We're actually going to be starting off with blood sugar, and that's not random. Blood sugar is the foundation that everything else rests on. Think of it like this. If your blood sugar is unstable, the body stays in survival mode, and when your body is in survival mode, it cannot heal, it cannot detox, it cannot regulate hormones or repair. So that being said, before we touch hormones, before we talk about detox, before we talk about supplements, it's important, so important, that we stabilize energy. When we work with the body in the right order, things begin to change much more gently, but most importantly, much more sustainably. So phase 1, Episode 1 of the Heal and Reset journey is about understanding why blood sugar is the first step, what's actually happening in the body when it's unstable, and how we're approaching this phase together. You don't need to change everything today, you just need to understand the order and take that first step. If there's one thing I want you to understand today, it's this. Blood sugar is not just about food, it's about energy, safety, and stress. So, let's understand blood sugar. Blood sugar is the body's primary energy signal. Every cell in the body relies on stable energy. And when energy is unstable, the body prioritizes survival, not repair. So when blood sugar is volatile, meaning it spikes and crashes, the body reads that as stress. And when the body is under stress, it does not prioritize hormones, digestion, fertility, or healing. So before we get to hormones, gut health, supplements, or detoxes, we have to answer one question first. Does the body feel safe enough to heal? And blood sugar is how we answer that question. Let's understand blood sugar volatility. This is what blood sugar volatility looks like. When you eat a meal that is high in quick carbohydrates or sugar, glucose rises rapidly. Insulin is then released to bring it back down, and as a result, blood sugar drops too quickly. And in terms of what happens with cortisol, which is our stress hormones, cortisol is released to raise the blood sugar, and this creates a stress response. The body enters correction mode. And if this happens repeatedly, the body stays in a loop of spike, crash, stress correction, spike, crash, stress correction. And it's really hard to break out of this loop. Now, this next curve is what we're aiming for. When you eat a protein-heavy meal with less carbs, there's a slower release of glucose. This reduces the demand for insulin, and as a result, there is no emergency stress response and the nervous system stays calmer. We're not trying to flatten blood sugar, we're trying to reduce the volatility. Okay, so now that I've explained blood sugar and volatility, how does this affect women and our hormones? When volatility is high, insulin affects the ovarian hormone signaling. Cortisol suppresses progesterone, and chronic stress affects thyroid conversion and inflammation increases. And this is why so many women are told that their hormones are off, when in reality, their bodies are just constantly correcting energy instability. Hormones don't exist in isolation. They respond to energy availability, stress levels, and metabolic signals. If blood sugar is unstable, insulin stays elevated, cortisol stays active, progesterone is suppressed, and thyroid function can slow. So when we try to fix hormones without stabilizing blood sugar first, the body resists. You cannot supplement your way out of metabolic chaos. So I want to be explicit about the order we're following in the Heal and Reset journey. Step 1, stabilize blood sugar. Step 2, reduce volatility. Step 3, lower stress signals, creating metabolic safety. And step 4, refine. And this is the area where we start to look at hormones, the gut, toxins, and supplements. And it's the reason why we're not starting with sugar elimination, we are not detoxing, and we're not stacking supplements right now. We need to add stability before we remove anything. So what does this look like in practice? For phase 1, our anchor is protein first concept. Protein slows down glucose absorption. It reduces those huge sugar spikes that I showed you on the curve. It improves satiety and lowers cravings naturally. Protein first simply means this. Before or alongside carbs, we make sure there is a clear protein source on the plate. And I don't mean high protein diets, tracking macros, or eating perfectly. We're not removing carbs and we're not cutting out sugar, at least not yet. We're just changing the order and the balance. It's about anchoring your meals with protein so blood sugar doesn't spike and crash. When we stabilize first, cravings reduce naturally, and then refinement becomes easier. Let's look into protein a little bit more now. So what foods count as protein? Examples of protein include eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, chicken, turkey, beef, lamb, fish, seafood, tofu or tempeh, lentils, chickpeas, beans, protein smoothies or shakes. And it does not have to be fancy. Leftovers count. If it has protein, it counts. This is not about perfection. So some examples of breakfast might look like eggs with toast, Greek yogurt with fruit, a protein smoothie, leftovers from dinner. Even a small amount of protein here makes a big difference to the rest of the day. Protein at lunch and dinner generally looks like making sure protein is the base of the meal and then adding carbs and fats around it. If you snack, aim to pair your carbs with protein. So for example, fruit and yogurt, crackers and cheese, apple and nut butter. A common question, is this at every meal? And the short answer is yes. But if that feels overwhelming, start with breakfast and one other meal a day. Consistency matters more than doing it perfectly. Okay, how long are we doing protein fast for? This is where we're going to remove the pressure. We're not going to be doing this for a week, for a day. We are committing to this for the whole part of phase 1 because blood sugar doesn't stabilize overnight. I want you to think in weeks, not days. We'll check in after a few weeks and observe our energy, cravings, mood, and hunger signals, and that's how we know it's working. What changes might you notice? Some women notice fewer crashes, reduced cravings, steadier energy, and less anxiety around food. Others may notice more subtle shifts first, and that's normal too. Remember, quiet changes still count. This is why protein first is our entry point. It reduces blood sugar volatility without stress. It creates safety before restriction. And it sets the foundation for everything else we're going to be doing later, including hormones, gut health, and detoxification. So now you know why we're starting here. I'm hoping you understand why blood sugar comes first, why we're not rushing, and what you're focusing on right now. This phase is about stability, not control. And you're not doing this alone. I'm doing it with you. So let's start making a plan. Let's start going in protein first. We're going to stay in this phase long enough for your body to feel the difference. And a reminder, this is phase 1, blood sugar rebalance. And this is where healing begins. If you do have any recipes or meal ideas that include a protein first concept, put it in the comments so that others can benefit. And if you haven't already, I've left the link to join my exclusive Facebook community, especially for those who are on the heal and reset journey with me, so that we can uplift and support each other and have real life check-ins and just a place to chat with each other. So please do make sure you join that community, because it's a really great place for us all to come together. And I will check in again with you very shortly, but let's start protein first.